Hi, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and this is my 2019 Corvette Grand Sport. The trim level is the 3LT. I tell you what we're going to do today. As you know, many of us, when we get a new car or something like this, we want to protect the paint. Well, today, I'm going to show you what it takes to have a professional installation of paint protection film. We're going to be using an Xpel product. So stay tuned, because that starts right now on the Gadget Guru. Okay, we're in my garage. I'm located in Central Florida. If there's an echo in here, I mean, this is not my typical scenario for shooting videos. That's because we're in a garage. We've taken other cars out. All we have is this beautiful Corvette right here, ready to start work. With me is Wendy, and you have to pronounce your last name for
Vespucci.
me. And you're with Ultra Shield Orlando.
Yes.
You come to the home to do it.
That's right.
As long as the people have the right space.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this for?
Going on 18 years.
Okay, so you've done
strictly
this
with paint
twice.
protection film. I started in automotive detailing and kind of stumbled upon this product by accident, and just thought it had a lot of potential. I liked what it did, and it doesn't change the aerodynamics of the car or the appearance of the car, yet it's going to protect it from the rock chips and the bug damage. So that's,
now, the other thing I notice about you, this is all you do. Is this the only product you use?
I do use also 3M Scotchgard Pro Series paint protection film, more so the Xpel Ultimate lately, but we do offer both.
Okay. How would you, if you're watching at home, you're thinking about doing this, how would you compare the two products?
Both films are 8 mil in thickness, and both have self-healing properties as well as a 10-year manufacturer's warranty. Right now we're just seeing a little bit more of a demand for the Xpel film lately.
I had Xpel on an Aston Martin I had, and I tell you what I did, and if I had to do it over, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. I only did the front in surfaces that faced upward. I wish I'd wrapped the whole car, because after 4 years, when I went to go sell it, everybody was admiring, and it was the Xpel, I believe it was the ultimate product. We're going back a lot of years. The first thing that they looked at were, around the edges. There was no fraying. I mean, what wasn't wrapped, wherever the seams were, and the paint was perfect. Now, I have another question for you. Now, my plan is to have this ceramic coated, in the near future. Is that a necessary step?
It's not necessary. The film is very low maintenance overall. However, you can do ceramic coating either under the film, like before you have it installed, and you can also put it over the film, and it's just going to give you an additional layer of protection from like bugs, acid, and environmental contaminants and things like that, to keep not only the car looking nice, but the film looking beautiful for many years to come too.
Now, when we first started talking, I guess the standard is this: you have certain templates that you want to use. Most people don't do the doors. And I said, no, I want to wrap the entire thing. We don't need to do anything. But how strange is that?
Most people only consider front end impacts when they're thinking about wrapping their vehicles. A lot of people don't consider what happens in parking lots. And doors are very vulnerable. Even sometimes on the highways, a car might kind of kick a stone up kind of at a sideways trajectory, and it can damage the side of the vehicle. I've seen it happen. It's not as common as it would be for the front of the vehicle, but it definitely needs protection too, if that's your goal.
Now, I know when we first spoke on the phone that, I asked you, there's already the little small pieces of plastic that come from factory. Now, you're going to remove those since we're wrapping the whole car.
Correct. Okay. Many manufacturers put small pieces of paint protection film on the car out of the factory. Usually it's right in front of the rear wheel well, where the front tires would sometimes kick things up, and it'd be vulnerable to damage. So yes, we would remove those small pieces, because the coverage we're installing is going to be much more comprehensive, and it would go over that area. So you wouldn't want to put film on top of film necessarily.
Okay, now the last thing I want to point out before we get to work here is that, and I know I bombarded you with questions when we first spoke, and the reason is, the last car that I had, wrapped with film, the Xpel product, and I want to choose my words carefully, it was pretty much a botched job. Okay. The installer, evidently the templates they had, and I'm hesitant to say the car is a Bentley Bentayga. It was done well still at the dealers before I took delivery. But all around the front grille, there were just chips in there. And the factory had to get involved. The good thing is I did it before it left the dealer, so between the dealer and the factory, you know. But I'll tell you, I'm not even going to say that person's name, but I won't be. I did not call him this time.
I understand.
Now, what do you do to avoid those types of situations?
To avoid that, that's why one of the reasons I use Xpel a lot, and especially their design software is excellent. The templates that they create for these cars fit within millimeters of the body panel. Everything is pre-cut, and it's going to line up almost exactly with the openings on the vehicle, with the seams of the vehicle. And when the pattern fits well, you don't need to do trimming on the vehicle.
Okay, now I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to stay out of your way. What we're going to do, I'm going to put a couple time-lapse cameras up.
Okay.
And then we'll talk on the back end, and maybe you can give me some care tips. I know we just kind of touched on up front of what I need to know. Is this a one-day project for you?
We'll see. It's definitely going to help to have 2 installers working on the vehicle. So I think we'll get the bulk of it done in one day. May go into a second day. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is an air-conditioned garage. Oh, you have enough space to work in?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to kick it down a few notches so it keeps you nice and cool. Okay. Any last words of wisdom before we get started?
No, looking forward to wrapping this for you and getting it all protected.
I'll tell you, Wendy, I'm looking forward to this because actually, since I've gotten the car, I've been very hesitant to drive it. I think I have 60 miles because I did not want to have any damage.
Sure.
And one thing I pointed out to you, you told me to give it a good bath.
Yes.
I did yesterday. I used Simple Chuck, the deionized water, but I'm noticing on this there's water spots. You said you'll take care of those before we get started.
We're going to wipe down every surface, probably more than once, before we put the film on there, just in case there's any dust or anything that's settled on the car between the time you washed it and now.
Well, the longer I talk and the more questions I ask, the less time you have to work. So I'm going to get you away. Good luck.
Thank you.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the time lapse. You know, judging by the video we just saw, you guys work fast, but in reality, you started, a little bit after 9 a.m. It's 7:30 now. That's 10 hours or so of work you've done. So what do you think? You have done the whole car.
Indeed, yes. We put on all the panels, wrapped most of the edges, and it's a beautiful fit. I'm very pleased with the application.
Okay, as the owner, the first question I have to ask, you just completed this today. Can I drive this tonight? Does it need to cure or?
You may drive it immediately. As far as post-care, I would advise not to wash, wax, or disturb the edges for about the next 2 days.
Okay, now we're in Central Florida. It's the middle of summer. It could rain,
It could rain, yes.
So if I'm out, let's say in the first couple of days and it rains, am I causing any damage here?
No, you're fine. We treated all the edges with some heat, so even if it gets rained on, a little moisture under there should not hurt it. But of course, if you see any lifted edges, just give me a call and I'll come take a look at it for you.
Okay, you got it. Thank you for that.
Sure.
This is a self-healing film.
It is, yes.
Tell me how that works.
Most light scratches will fill themselves back in. Now, larger impacts such as rock chips could potentially tear or damage the film depending on the size of the debris hitting the film, but that is its intended purpose. It's a sacrificial barrier, but most lighter damage should heal itself.
Okay, so let's say if you get a little tear, basically just leave it outside?
Yes. Yep, the heat will actually help the film to heal itself and fill it back in.
How about bugs? You know, we do live in Central Florida. A couple times here we get love bugs bad. How do you deal with any sort of bugs, you know, at highway speed with using this type of film?
That's a very good question, and it's a misconception a lot of people have about the film. The bugs don't necessarily just wash right off. This film is going to behave much the same way your paint does. The acids from bugs or bird droppings can etch the film just as it would your paint. So for that reason, that's why I encourage the ceramic coatings. I encourage waxing the film occasionally. It's just going to put another layer of protection on the film and keep it from getting damaged from the environmental contaminants.
Okay, so when I do get love bugs, just, take a microfiber water. Do you have a preferred method that you think works the best?
Let's see. I would say any quick detail spray or some warm water and a soft microfiber. I would prefer you did it in the shade rather than direct sunlight. Just anything in the hot sun is going to make things stick a little more aggressively and dry out faster and be a little more difficult to get off. But yeah, just wash them off as soon as possible and you should be good to go.
Now in this car today, we did the complete car, including the headlight lenses. Do most people do it that way?
No, most people do the front end of the vehicle, the hood, the fenders, the bumper, the mirrors. Those are your high impact zones. And for a lot of people that'll be sufficient, but it is certainly possible, as you've seen, to wrap the entire vehicle if one was so inclined.
Okay, maybe I'm just one of the crazy ones. Yeah. On the headlight lenses, do the heat from the lamps, does that cause any issues?
On some of the older, halogen type lenses, there used to be concerns about that, the higher temperature lenses distorting the film, but most of today's headlights run a little bit cooler than they used to. So I have not seen that kind of issue in a long time. Okay,
when you were applying the film earlier today, and I think I made note in the first part of the video, I said, I'm going to cool down the garage. I'm fortunate this is a true air conditioned garage.
Yes.
And you said, no, don't necessarily do that. Why is that?
Well, I appreciate the comfort for myself, but the film actually gets a little bit stiffer to work with in cooler temperatures. So actually the warmer it is, the more pliable and flexible the film will be and a little bit easier to install around those crevices and corners and compound curves. I would not recommend trying to install the film in temperatures maybe below 65 degrees. It's just going to be too stiff to work with.
Okay. Now, did I understand you correctly? It said that this comes with a 10-year warranty?
It does,
Tell me what that means and how that works.
This comes with a 10-year manufacturer's warranty, and it includes defects such as yellowing, bubbling, and cracking. It does not include wear and tear, so if something hits the film, that is not covered by the manufacturer's warranty. But any manufacturing defects would be covered. If you feel you have a warranty issue, you can give me a call, or if you've moved, you can call the manufacturer, Xpel, and they can connect you with an installer in that area, inspect the issue, and if it's approved for warranty, we'll remove the film and replace it at no charge to you.
I see that. You can't beat.
Not especially for 10 years, right?
I mean, yeah, and the labor's involved in that too.
Yes.
Let's say the film, if it does have to be removed, I'll ask you this in two parts. A, how is that done? And B, does that damage the paint below?
Very good question. I usually recommend putting the film on the original finish of the vehicle, the factory finish, because that's going to be cured, that's going to be best bonded.
You mean versus
a
ceramic
repaint, versus like a collision repair. It can be a little more...
so get it done up front.
I would get it done up front. It can be done to a repainted vehicle also, just you'd want to make sure that the body shop did a really good job prepping the panels, because there would be concerns about possibly lifting paint if there's any places that the paint did not bond properly.
So
but on the original finish,
factory finish, is it difficult or?
Not at all. I would just put it out in the sun, let everything get nice and hot, and then you just maybe start at a corner and just slowly peel the film off of the car. Okay,
and it should come off one piece per section?
Yes, it should come off in one piece. I recommend not leaving the film on the vehicle, even though it has a 10-year manufacturer's warranty. From my personal experience, I would recommend taking the film off after about 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Just because in Florida, with the UV, with the heat, eventually the material will start to degrade, and we want to get it off of the car before that happens. The paint will still be fine underneath, it just becomes a little more labor intensive to remove once it starts to break down.
You know, a good deal of my YouTube audience are motor homeowners. You know, I've been covering Prevost and vintage buses and the whole RV industry for a number of years. On the front of my Prevost, you know, before I sold it, I would have a vinyl, I'd call it a broth, that would cover the entire front, because when you get into bugs or whatever, no damage to the paint. Is the Xpel a good product to put on the front of a large motorhome?
It is an excellent product to put on the front of a motorhome, just as long as you remember to take it off. A lot of people leave it on way too long, and I'm sure you may have seen motorhomes that have the film on it that's cracked and it just doesn't look very good. That's probably because it's been on there for 8+ years.
Isn't that older technology film as well?
It is, but it's the same thickness. It's relatively similar adhesives too, so it just eventually the product will break down. So it remains to be seen with the newest films how long they will last, and keeping our fingers crossed they will last much longer, but they haven't been around long enough to determine that for sure yet.
Okay, I was fortunate. I found you from a referral from my friend Don. Thanks, Don. You did a wonderful job. We're going to roll it out in the sun just to double check everything in a few minutes. But if you don't live in the Central Florida area, you've been doing this, what'd you say, 18 years?
Going on 18, yes.
Okay, what tips do you have for people out of the Central Florida area to find a top-tier installer?
Go to the film manufacturer's website, and I would check and see which installers are in your area. You can usually enter your zip code and it'll bring up a list of installers near you, and once you have that list, maybe go down it, call each one, find out how long that installer has been doing installations, make sure they are still certified, and make sure that they're qualified to give you a warranty for that film as well.
Okay, and the manufacturer will tell you this over the various customers?
Yes, they should.
Okay, the big question is price. What kind of budget do you need to have for this type of car, or let's say a range of cars?
Well, our standard front end coverage would typically be about the leading third of the hood and fenders.
Okay, so that would be here. You'd have a line here.
Almost halfway up sometimes, depends on the size of the hood. Yeah, correct. You would see a seam on some colors, on others it might not be so noticeable. But the leading hood, leading fenders, the front bumper, and the back of the mirrors usually is going to run you less than $700 for most vehicles. And then of course from there the options are full, as you can see.
And basically, you $5,000 or more for a full
right,
car.
for a full car, you're probably looking at about $4,000 and up, depending on the vehicle.
Okay, we earlier, and I'll put it up again, we put up your website. If people want more information, just go there, fill out the contact form.
Absolutely, yes. Go to the website. Easiest thing to do, send me an email with your vehicle information, year, make, model, submodel, and your zip code where you live, and I can usually respond with an estimate within 24 hours. Sometimes, if I'm on an installation, I can't always answer my phone, so I do apologize.
Listen,
but that is a top
the way you communicated to me was just, it was top tier. Yeah, granted, you're working during the day and I get emails returned later in the afternoon. And one thing, let me point out, there was no compensation whatsoever. You didn't pay me to do the video. I got no discount. I paid your full price on this. You know, hopefully there won't be any problems. I won't have to do any more reporting on it, but I just feel good. When you get a new car, it's just nice to protect it. Thank you so much for your time in here. Now remember, the easiest way to keep posted of my new stories and videos is to simply like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegadgetguru. Don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube and click that bell so that you'll be notified. If you like this video, you're going to like one of these. That's it for now. I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr.